Like Aang being gone for 100 years, it's been a while since we've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now it's back though, and it's on Netflix. How does this compare to the cartoon and to the live-action movie that was, well, not well received? We'll explain to you whether or not you need to spend time with this one, whether it is binge-worthy, and we'll explain it right now. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. We are happy to have you as always. We explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and yes, indeedly doodly, we do a review from time to time. And this series, Avatar: The Last Airbender, I think definitely deserves a review. Happy to do so, and so let's get right to it. Does it succeed? Does it fail? Well folks, first of all, we need to put this into a comparison. If we are talking about does Avatar: The Last Airbender succeed when it comes to comparing it to Disney Plus shows like, well, you know it, Ahsoka, The Mandalorian Season 3, and more, well, this is far superior to those. So if you came in here thinking this was going to be nothing but hate and rage and this sucks, well, think again. Because the truth is that while Avatar: The Last Airbender is not as good as the original cartoon, it is leagues better than what we have been watching when it comes to Disney Plus shows. Now, it also needs to be said that this is not on the level of One Piece. One Piece, of course, the live-action reimagining of an anime show. This is not at that level either, and for reasons that I'll get to in just a moment. But this definitely lands somewhere in the middle, and your mileage will vary depending on how much you love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and perhaps that's actually inversely proportional to how much you'll enjoy this one. What are we talking about? Well, first of all, let's say that the movie that was part of Nickelodeon's efforts, that was a very poorly conceived and made movie. This is not that. Every single scene has tons and tons of money and, dare I say, authentic effort put into making this be good. The problem, however, because there is a problem, the problem lies in the fact that this live-action remake simply doesn't have the time to have fun. And it's so important, it's so necessary, and yet that does not take place. When you read review after review talking about Aang and Katara and Sokka and what's going wrong, what's going right, and why things are not up to par with the original, one thing that's often left out is the fun aspect. These are portrayed as kids, as teenagers, and they're not having the fun that was in the first iteration of this. And because they're not having fun, we're not having fun alongside them. It's very dark, it's very dreary, the stakes have never been higher. And that's fine, there's a place for that. But because we don't go penguin sledding, because we don't have time to laugh and to enjoy and to smile and to make jokes, because Sokka isn't quite the goofball that we remember, we don't build those relationships with the characters so that when Sokka and Katara decide to go save Aang, we don't feel that in quite the way that we should because there wasn't already a relationship built up. And that is largely because this is a very serious series presented by Netflix. That's not bad, that's not good, it is just what it is. But because there's not the frivolry of the original, it's just not as charming, and that's why it cannot be great. There are also some minor casting issues, and there are definitely places where decisions that are made in this series confound us and make us wonder, why was that change necessary? And for all of the preening that we saw before this series came out, I'm here to tell you that you can go ahead and put some doubt in the virtue signaling, because I think that's simply what young actors have been trained to say, and they definitely pulled a 180 as fast as they could. I don't see very much in the way of virtue signaling in this show. I also don't see very much that's utterly atrocious. But again, I'm not necessarily having fun. And that really is what sets some of these great shows apart. Think about how dark and dire and dreary Stranger Things is. Another fantastically popular Netflix show. And yet, the reason that we love Stranger Things is because even in the midst of those dark and dreary settings, there's fun. The teenagers laugh and poke fun at one another. They play games. They have crazy things that they enjoy doing, and we get montages of pleasure. Somehow, some way, that needed to be in this series. And if it is so fortunate as to receive another season, then that definitely needs to be on the docket. Fun is necessary here, especially if you're going to draw in kids, because as is, what you have is something more akin to Lord of the Rings, but even then I think Lord of the Rings might be a little bit more jolly than this one. Now, there are complaints that the characters are wearing the same exact attire as in the cartoon, and that doesn't come away as, well, as realistic in live action. In fact, it's a little bit off-putting. I didn't see too much of a problem there. I do think that there should be variations in the clothing, and it's fine if the colors are not exactly matching the cartoon. And yes, some of the appearances of characters when they're attempted to be put into live action and still remain absolutely true to the cartoon representations, that doesn't go over so well either. There are some appearances that they're cartoonesque and they should remain only in a cartoon, but I applaud the fact that they love the source material enough to follow it this closely. Now, yes, the original creators exited this project, and that is a strike against it, and perhaps that's where some of the fun is missing, and perhaps that's where some of the focus on women, more so than in the past, even though I think the original cartoon was strong in having female characters and even leads, this one pushes some decisions sometimes, although I don't think it's woke necessarily. It pushes some bizarre decisions that put women into places that wasn't really the place of the original cartoon. I'm thinking specifically of a callback to a particular avatar prior to Aang. But overall, is this the kind of show that you should spend time with? Well, if you love the original cartoon, then I recommend watching the original cartoon. And if you haven't seen the original cartoon, which I consider to be one of the best cartoons in the history of all cartoons, now that's really saying something, well, you should go watch that immediately. But if you have a casual joy of this, or if you really, really love it, and you've already seen the cartoon, and you've watched it twice, maybe even thrice, then sure. And I think that, I have to say that I would not recommend someone watch this before they watch the cartoon. They really do, because the cartoon is special. And therein lies the problem here. Because if you're going to remake something that is awesome, let's say it again, if you're going to remake something that is awesome, then that is the bar you have to meet. And it was not met with this show. If this show was an original, if there was no original cartoon, then this would be a pretty darn good show. And the budget is here, the effort is here, the acting usually is here, but it's always going to be compared to something that is fantastically good. Now, should you watch this? Sure, after the cartoon, and if you enjoy the cartoon. But if you enjoy the cartoon, there may be some places where you say, I don't know about this. You get the idea. We've all read the book before, the great book, and then went to see a movie that was based on a book and came away saying, that's not as good as the book. We all know that trope. And I think you're going to find that here. But in terms of hate, no hate for Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. On this channel, we'll leave that to the sensationalists on other places. We're not here to hate things arbitrarily or artificially. And when we dislike things that Disney is putting out, that's because they're really bad. And so we reserve saying things are really bad for really bad things. This is not really bad. It's also not terrific or awesome. Is it good? Well, yes, it's good enough. And if they need to go farther with this, if they wish to do a second season, it needs to be better than good enough. Good enough, in this case, is not enough. And we look forward to finding more of our favorite friends joining alongside the current group. We hope, though, that when that happens, we'll take the time to laugh and have fun and have a good time, because that is what unites not only the characters but the audience when it's time to fight, when it's time to take a loss. It's even more so important when we pretty much know how this goes. We've seen the story before, and the story was really, really good. So, overall, I give Avatar: The Last Airbender a 7 out of 10 for its first season on Netflix. And remember, I give the cartoon an astounding 10 out of 10. I can only think of 2 episodes in the original cartoon that I don't like. And I have to say that it's almost a perfectly told story from beginning to end. And that, over multiple seasons, is a true accomplishment. This show, good enough, 7 out of 10. It's definitely no Ahsoka. It's definitely no Mandalorian Season 3. It's fine. Go enjoy it. If it was not based on something awesome in the beginning, we'd be talking about, wow, look at this amazing thing. and it's still good. Alright folks, it's time for you now to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree. Note, one of the reasons we're doing this review is because there are 8 hours plus of content for you to watch on Netflix, and that's quite the commitment. Some folks out there are going to watch that first episode and say, I don't know if I want to keep going. So I'm here to say it's a 7 out of 10. Drop a comment down below, though, and let us know, do you agree or disagree? Also, like, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Just as we said, you know. And folks, we'll have the Pro Show coming up live this Tuesday at noon Eastern. Don't miss it. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
This is one big cultural appropriation, don't you think?
What do you mean? We're just celebrating the Year of Medmud.
There's no thing called the Year of Medmud. There's a dog, but not a Medmud. Where do you get this from? Were you reading Time magazine again?
No, but I just figured that since he's so generous, he deserved to be like Star of the Year. The goat, if you will.
No.
You all know goats are hot.
You're just trying to suck up to him to get a membership on our channel, aren't you?
Maybe.
That's so disgusting. I'd say you should be ashamed of yourself, but trying to butter up to him like that... Then again, it is you.
Look, man, butter worked on Jonas.
Putting butter on a second-degree burn isn't a solution. Besides that, there's like another restraining order against you going near anyone in the kitchen. But you know what there isn't a court order for? Subscribing to WDW Pro and bookmarking thatparkplace.com, where John Trent is editor-in-chief, so you can keep ahead of the culture curve and get accurate information, which will also keep you from getting burned by the mainstream media.
So you are saying I did a sick burn?
You're an idiot. Now clean all this up.
Yeah, I'm not cleaning it up.